Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iyori Folari. Well, it's day 3 of the tragedy, quite frankly, talking about the collapsed building in Itafaji, Lagos, where we're broadcasting from here. And well, the building has now come down. LASEMA in Lagos, that's the Emergency Management Agency, had said that it wanted to reach ground zero on the matter before calling off operations. I do believe that rescue work has been completed now, or at least it's been called off, because they've got to ground zero, in fact. But we'll make assurance doubly sure because we have Mr. Tiamiyu Adesina. I don't know if it's Adesina Tiamiyu or Tiamiyu Adesina. However, the gentleman answers to both. Mr. Tiamiyu Adesina, good morning. Thank you very much for coming on.
Good morning.
And let me quickly correct that. Which is the surname?
Tiamiyu is the surname.
Okay, so so it's Adesina Tiamiyu,
Yes.
General Manager of Lagos State Emergency Management Agency. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you,
And
sir.
let me also quickly welcome Mr. Roland Abonta. Mr. Abonta is President of the Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
My pleasure being here. Thank you very much.
Well, Mr. Tiamiyu, first of all, it shows that you've had very, very little sleep in the past 48, maybe even longer hours. Sorry, it comes with the territory. Can you tell us if all rescue work has now been properly called off, has been officially called off? That is, it has concluded in terms of getting survivors out of that place.
Well, as far as that is concerned, yes. Let me say that has been suspended.
Okay, suspended.
Suspended.
Well, when you say suspended, there's no likelihood of your going back to searching for survivors anymore because, according to news reports, you have got to ground zero, so you can see everywhere clearly, right?
That's right.
Okay. Mr. Tiamiyu, let me just, we all know the story. We have our reporters, we have one of our reporters, even at the hospital. But tell us about why this kind of a thing keeps on happening in Lagos State. People in the area say that that building, and this is where you can correct me if I'm wrong, that building had been marked for demolition. Before going into any other aspects, had been marked for demolition, had not yet been demolished. I'm just imagining that the way things go on in Lagos, maybe in every state of the country, then people will begin to run around, people begin to get to the ministry, people begin to slow down matters, people, and on and on and on. And officials of the Lagos state government will indeed be listening to some of these pleas, hoping that, because it doesn't always happen immediately, they just leave it and hope for the best. And now, unfortunately, this has gone and happened. First of all, would you like to comment on what I just said, that it had been marked for demolition, and if Lagos State had done the demolition as they had indicated that they wanted to do, we might have been saved this?
Well, let me put this on record. I represent Lagos State Emergency Management Agency. There are other agencies of government that are involved in all of this. Specifically on building and infrastructural watch is Lagos State Building Control Agency. I am aware they were on the ground with us. And I'm also aware that they do their work independent of LASEMA. But when it comes to demolition and they don't have the capacity, they get back to us to assist them. There are ones they do with manual hands, smaller buildings and all of that. I don't want to preempt investigation, but I was also told or seen by the resident that the building has been marked for demolition. I was taking around the community. I also saw some red marks on some building. The laws are there. Before you bring down anybody's building, you must let them know why that building has to go down. There are integrity tests that you must conduct. If they fail integrity test, then you get an order or permission to go ahead and bring down such building. I don't know what is
This
the
permission, well, you're calling it permission. I would just use the word approval. You get approval so that it shall be done properly.
Yes.
Because normally you don't bring buildings down. So if it has been found to be dangerous to human, habitation, yes, so much so that government in its wisdom, Lagos State government in its wisdom, had marked it for demolition, then we begin to drag our feet over it. You've explained that, look, we have many agencies, and I can only speak for LASEMA myself. I understand that, well spoken as a civil servant, you know, let those people come and sort themselves out, whoever they are. But it is a bit frustrating because you talked about stability. Now I understand that stability checks are going on in the area. I mean, very, very seriously. Yes. It's like medicine after death. When we could have averted a disaster, Lagos, the Center for Excellence, I don't know how it really looks at that title this morning and in the past 3 days that this has been going on. But I'll give you something of a slight break. I'm going to come back to you. Let me now swing over to Mr. Bonta, President of Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. Sir, you people too, I don't know. It's because you are professionals, estate surveyors and valuers, and when it comes to accommodation, I am sure you are aware that the conditions of buildings in Lagos, when I say I'm sure you are aware, it's because I am aware, and I'm not even a professional. The conditions of many buildings in Lagos, especially old Lagos, leave a lot to be desired. Because it is your field, have you also related with government and talked about buildings whose stability is highly suspect?
The truth is that we are all Nigerians, and whatever the other party knows, the other party also do know. So we know that there are compromised areas in our city management in Nigeria. Just like you were discussing with our director here, I can cite an example. Sometime 2 years ago, a building went on flames, or in flames in London. And the main cause of that,
the
cladding of that building,
it caught fire.
What was the response of government in UK?
It was comprehensive.
Prompt.
And prompt.
They took time to do integrity tests on all the buildings that are cladded. And within months, they were able to mark those buildings that have the possibility of having the same experience like the one that got burnt. And they quickly moved people away. They are not talking about we mark it and we start doing. And for me, integrity test should take place before marking. But I don't think that's the order here now, from what the director have said. Buildings are marked, and after marking, you start doing integrity tests.
No, I would. Well, first of all, it's because Mr. Tiami had said that there's a different agency
in charge of this.
Yes.
Okay, that may not be completely
true. Yes, I guess one has to ask the honcho there. Say, look, since it was marked, why did you mark it to come down? There must have been a reason. Now, there was a reason. They didn't see it as urgent. Lagos State people didn't see it as urgent. Otherwise, they're not mad people. They would have brought it down gently. Governor Fashola, in his time, you remember the building next to
Ministry of Works?
Is that what it was, close to Central Bank there?
Yes, yes.
You know, that was brought down most scientifically.
Yes.
Didn't affect the building here, didn't affect the building here.
Controlled demolition.
Thank you, sir. Controlled demolition.
Sir, what you have just explained is having the willpower to do that which have been given to you to do.
Oh, we will have the willpower now, Abi. Because
And
now we will have the willpower.
I also
now
think
that people are saying unconfirmed, 14 people dead, unconfirmed, because they don't want to confirm any figure yet. And I'll go back to that with Mr. Tiami. He'll explain why. I should be more professional, but it's annoying. It's annoying. It's annoying.
You have reason to be annoyed, and every Nigerian has reason to be annoyed with this kind of rampant, experiences we are having with building collapse.
Well,
it happens every other time. Immediately in the next 1 week or 2 weeks, this one will be forgotten.
Well, I certainly, Mr. Tiami.
And then nothing will happen until the next one comes up again.
Don't let's say so.
We are not being proactive.
Yeah.
We are not being proactive to prevent these things from happening. And the loss to the nation is so huge. Human lives, which we have no value again for. And then the assets itself. Because I'm an estate surveyor and valuer, I know that investment was made by somebody. It's possible he has recouped it. It's possible he didn't recoup it. But he would have been in a better position, assuming when he was coming up with the development, somebody faulted the processes, faulted the design, faulted the specifications and the materials being used.
Indeed.
And then stopped him.
Okay.
His resources wouldn't have been wasted. So the GDP, as at of today, is affected by that building that dropped. And so many other buildings that are dropping every other month or 6 months or quarterly or yearly. So the nation should be concerned.
Mr. Additional, I'm sure you don't want to come into that whole alleged mafia scenario where you have these mafiosis. One company owned by them will be doing some work, and in the process it will be destroying the tarmac in delivering this particular service. Then they have another company whose work and specialty is fixing roads. Then that one will come out again and won't be fixing roads. Now, why I made that ridiculous illustration is that I'm sure you can't want a situation where within the same administration, Lasema is one, you just explained there are other people. So one person can't be creating work for Lasema, one unit by its own, what is the word now? Not doing what it should be doing. Now, Lasema has to now come in there and do whatever it can to alleviate the situation. But it's a brother or a sister agency that should have pulled this building down and saved Lasema all the trouble. How this is going to be? Don't you guys meet among yourselves? Don't you guys complain? Won't Lasema complain that, look, I'm worried. There are too many buildings marked for demolition and they're all up. Unless we were playing with those things, can you go and take those red demolition marks off? Or if they're serious, let's do something about it.
Well, I think Lagosians and Nigerians are concerned now. Every effort should be put into making sure that the right things now are done. Where there are infractions, those who have, committed that should be penalized. I am personally, that's my personal opinion. Because if you look at it, I have not rested in 48 hours. I would have preferred to do my normal job and then rest.
Wow.
But then men were put to work for the 8 hours. They only ate once. They are complaining. I'm weak. They are weak. And then work must continue. And
it's a Lagos State lapse.
Yes. Let us have a comprehensive summit of all stakeholders about this so that we can situate faults where it lies. I am not... An emergency call comes into the call center saying a building is likely to collapse. The best Lasema would do is to escalate such calls to the necessary agency of government to go and run a check. The integrity testing that we are saying, I have rolled Caterpillar to a building before, and then we were shown the integrity certificate, and it passed. Then I'm at a loss. What should I do in a situation like that?
Let me come back to you because our Adedoja Salam is indeed at the hospital where some of these survivors are receiving attention. Doja, good morning. Give us an update, please.
Yeah, I'm at the Lagos Island General Hospital, Odon, here in Lagos. We just came in around 7 a.m. The Commissioner for Health, Jide Idris, came in company of the Minister of Health, Isaac Adewale. So far, 45 patients were brought into this hospital, and many of them have been discharged. Seven of them are at the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, LASUTH, and 4 of them are in the Bagada General Hospital. But at this place, at this General Hospital, over there is the ward that some of them are receiving treatment. 10 children are receiving treatment. Out of those 10 children, there is one, Joshua, is 4 years old. He is severely injured with his limbs, and there is going to be a surgical operation done. But the Lagos State government is saying that they're going to take responsibility, and there are 3 adults also receiving treatment. So total number of patients here at this hospital is 13. Earlier, when I was speaking with the Commissioner for Health, Jide Idris, he said that he frowned at what somebody said on TVC News yesterday. One of the patient's relatives, that fees were being required from them before they could get treated. And remember, Governor Akinwumi Ambode said when he visited the scene on Wednesday that the state is going to foot the hospital bills of these victims. So he said any officials, any medical officials found wanting, collecting, extorting patients here will be severely dealt with. Yori.
Well, thank you very much, Daja. Thank you very much. We'll be, touching base with you from time to time. Okay, she's also touched on something that I wanted to speak about, which was that Governor Ambode, and when he visited there with the deputy governor, had said that the government would take care of the medical care of these people. But then there were reports, which she has alluded to, that hospital officials were actually saying that, well, they don't know about that. In other words, they were demanding payment, and that became something of a protest. And so that whole matter, no doubt, has been sorted out because the hospital itself has subsequently denied that any such thing happens. So I'm just guessing that it was a bit of confusion. The governor made a pronouncement. Civil servants will still be waiting for some hard paper. I imagine that kind of a thing. So it's been sorted out now because the hospital has indeed denied that they demanded any such money from anybody, even though people wouldn't have made up that story. But I'm sure it was a gap in the communication. Yeah, so that we understand how that is. Yes, you were explaining, but I had to go to Doja because it's very, very important. Tell me what's the reticence in giving us a number? You don't want to be too hasty in giving us numbers. What informs this?
You see, we have to be careful when it comes to giving out statistics of victims of incidences. Remember, this has international dimension to it because international media were there recording all of these things. And there was that social media angle which said over 100 people feared dead. I don't think there are over 100 people in the whole of that building from statistics we already have now. Yes, there were record of deaths, but when people are scattered all over facilities, there's a need to have a central point from where records will be tabled, and then you can go ahead and then analyze and have a figure. The figure that we have as out this morning, given by the Ministry of Health, was that there are, 20 deaths recorded in this incident. 16 of them children, 4 adults. That's the record from the Ministry of Health.
Okay.
Because they have these facilities under their control, and medical directors have brought out figures from them. There are people who are taken to Massey Children's Hospital for treatment, and they were discharged.
Massey is just very, very close.
Very close.
The building itself is 63 Massey Street.
Yes, yes.
So the Massey is very, very
close.
Very,
very close. So you have problem of some people just walk in, you give them just treatment, and they go away before even you capture them. So it is difficult having a comprehensive figure of those who are even resident in that building.
I even understand that some people who had been rescued were later, unfortunately, to pass on.
And yes, we have record of that because even the children, while some of them were being rescued, I am not happy the way the men who were ready to help us manage the situation. We were overwhelmed, and we must accept this. And we must tell Nigerians, look, an incident scene is not a place where everybody comes to. I appreciate the fact that the community were the first responders.
Yes.
They had rescued some people before our arrival. But as soon as we got there, they should have allowed us to take charge and control.
How soon after the incident did you get there by your calculations later on?
We were there before 11 a.m. We got the first call came in by 10:06 from the call center. Okay. And of course, for an incident like that, there are subsequent calls. So we asked the team from Lekki to proceed, while the team from Ikeja carried some more equipment, and they went ahead. Now, the first thing we'll go in there and give a CTREP, the situation report. And then where we need more equipment, like,
this heavy equipment, right?
Yes, then we will now call for backup and send this, send that. But at least the basic thing that we will need, like the ramp, like the quarters, were always with the team.
Okay.
So if you go to an incident scene again and you have to lift a heavy object, there's always a ram you put on there, and then mechanically you roll it. It pushes that thing up. You're able to assess the victim and bring them out. All of those ones were deployed.
Look at the crowd that you had to work within. You know,
Yes.
and yeah, I can imagine. No, usually when you see this on cable TV of other crimes, they would have been cordoning off of the area.
There's a red tape.
So people, the red
There's
tape.
a red tape,
as
but
you can see,
nobody respected that.
Nobody's taking. Nobody was.
It's a community. The problem is they live close to that school.
Yes.
Those children were either the second, the third, the fifth, or somewhere very close. And a brother knows that somebody's son is there. They were agitated. I don't understand that. My sympathy goes to them. Now look at the ambulance, the way the ambulance is going. The ambulance is even sandwiched by human legs and all that. In the quest to take a trauma victim off an incident scene,
That was a problem.
there's the need for the use of what we call the neck collar and the spine board to stabilize them before you put them
Did you
in
have
an
those
ambulance.
things? Did you
We
have all
have
those?
them. But the urge to rush them out took over from these community people. Some of them were hang on their shoulder. You saw some of
They
them
meant
there.
well, but they could easily have been
Exact-
aggravating the
exactly,
situation.
exactly.
Oh,
So
you don't know how badly a person
the
is
Las
injured.
Ambos team were there, crying, shouting. Our paramedics were there. Honestly, we have the full complement of everything that we need to do a very good rescue.
Okay, but tell me, we just saw the heart-wrenching picture of a school kid there.
Yes.
We understand that this is a 3-story building.
Yes.
The very top most of which somehow Lagos State had also approved for it to be a school.
There's no approval.
Oh, ha.
There's no approval.
But there is a school on the top floor of that thing.
There can never be a Lagos State government approval for such a school.
So-
There can never be.
But it's not secret. I mean, I understand it. It's not a secret. There's a school going on there. It's top floor, and somehow no approval, and Lagos State let it be. And Lagos State would have let it be because Lagos State didn't know.
The governor promised investigation, so let's wait. We will see. Somebody must be able to give account of all of this because as a parent myself,
Yes.
I felt so bad having to take little children out of rubbles. Some of them were almost dying.
What has your investigation shown you this far? And I know that people will probably sit down and investigate it, but at least the little bit about a school being on the top floor. What else was in that building?
It serves a dual purpose, residential and a school.
There were some tenants
Some
there
people were
living,
living
some
there.
family people living there.
We rescued a woman with her son right beside him. It took us over an hour to be able to bring them out. The community people, we cannot bring in excavator at that point. So the community people came, hammers, all manner of things were being used, chisel, to carefully take away some of these things holding her down before we were able to bring her out of that rubble.
How about the fire service? Usually they have specialist knowledge
They're
in this regard.
also there. Everybody was there. Fire service were there. In fact, we got Julius Berger to bring in a crane. I have a crane, but my crane is bigger, and he could not have accessed that area. So Julius Berger brought a smaller crane to lift heavy slab of people to bring them out. If you see the picture, you will see. You will see the Federal Fire Service, they were there. I tell you, this is one assignment that I've had full complement of support from everybody.
What can you tell us, sir? Mr. Bonta, because this is your area of specialization. I don't know if in your portfolio you have any buildings in Isaleko, but nevertheless, you still will have experience of what the terrain looks like. Buildings in that area, your own professional assessment, the old buildings in there, old buildings can be preserved. The general manager has just used the word stability. They can be made more stable. What's your own understanding of how well we're doing in that regard, stabilizing old buildings? After all, they are treasures, but let them not become death traps. What's your experience in that regard?
The simple analogy is that as a nation, we lack the maintenance culture that is common to other climes, where you will see building lasting for 100 years, 80 years without problems. An average Nigerian...
By the way, sir, do
Yes,
we
sir.
know, Mr. Tiamio, how old that building was when it was actually put up?
For now, I don't know. We will investigate all of that.
Okay. So we don't know yet, but it's because the other problem is this phenomenon of developers not just in Lagos State, but in other state capitals, but I imagine they're very, very busy in Lagos. Developers come in, they do their work, and I'm sorry that I came away from you, sir, but I just wanted to stay with him for a bit, because you said that we will come and investigate it. The whole concept of building inspectors, I'm sure Lagos State has to have that. Didn't somebody see that this building is, I'm not happy with this building as a professional at all? Surely there are building inspectors in Lagos. They are.
Yes. Let me say quite clearly.
Yes.
Lagos building, LAPSCA, building control agencies, they are working.
They are?
And that's the truth.
They are?
They are working. If they are not working, why do you have marks? If they are not working, why do people claim they bribe people in Alausa? Who are they bribing? Let Nigerians, let Lagosians come forward and mention those who took that bribe from them. But
okay.
mark you see, we have to be very serious this time around. You mark a building for stop work while you conduct a test.
Okay.
That's even a building that is not inhabited.
Yes.
Under construction.
They go behind you in the night to continue construction.
But
they come in the morning.
Yes.
They come with police again.
Yes.
They stop you.
Yes.
You go.
Yes.
They lock the place.
Yes.
You come back in the night. You break it. People live within that community. Why don't we also, like I told some people when they came to me yesterday, I said, look, it's a bad situation now. Why don't you organize yourself? Come to the front of the House of Assembly. Come to the front of Government House and say, look, except you demolish this building on number so street before it comes down on our own building,
okay,
we will not leave this place.
As a desperate measure.
When it becomes so desperate.
Because the wheels of bureaucracy sometimes grind
slowly.
very slowly.
Yes.
Now, reports that I haven't been able to confirm, reports say that there were all the indications that there was something bad was going to happen. People talk about sand, raining from aspects of from the building. Maybe cracks, maybe
all over.
Are going on. Now, when the guys came along, that organization, and I'll see if we can get their boss here and see if we can just ask him a few questions, because we might need to hear it from his own point of view as well. When that guy or that unit, when they put that mark on it, that this building has to come down, I imagine there must be different grades of marking. There will be some that are marked that must come down immediately. So it doesn't matter whether you know Oloweko, whether you know any prince in Lagos, whether you know any government official.
So
it
you have
doesn't
any certificate
matter.
of integrity or whatever.
Whatever you
must
have,
go down.
if it has been marked that I'm a techie, I'm a scientist, I'm a professional, that building is not going to stay up for another 2 weeks. I'm telling you that. Nobody could say that, because I'm sure if somebody with authority and professional knowledge had said that, then Lagos wouldn't have messed around till the building collapsed, and then we're all running around like headless chickens now.
The woman whose building was next to it, an Alaja, came up to meet me and said, look, she went upstairs to meet the proprietors of that school that same morning to warn her that come and see a part of this building has come down. And it has fallen on her own property. And that she was just out of that building. The next 5 minutes, there was a bank. And that was it.
Well, it's good you said the governor has said that there will be a probe.
There must be.
There must be a probe, but this is what we are bearing in this society. A probe after, when it's too late. Because if one life has been lost in that thing, it's too late. And there was every indication that, something bad was going to happen. A building doesn't start raining sand. Elijah next door to them doesn't go and explain to people that a brick fell on my property. And Lagos State is still chilling. They're still hoping that nothing bad will happen. It just doesn't sound like the center of excellence that we all know and that we expect. But I hear that even Governor-elect and his running mate were also there yesterday to just sympathize and see what was going on. Lagos State government, the federal government has also come in on the matter. I understand that they've been meeting with you guys. It has been said that whatever could be done, whether is it FEMA? Is FEMA the
NEMA, National Emergency
It is the
Management
national.
Agency.
So they're trying to relate with you guys,
yes.
and whatever will be done by way of assistance will be done through you guys. That's the way it is. But the state of buildings, I imagine you won't have this kind of a scenario in where are your prime areas in Lagos? You go to Lekki side of town, you go to the Ikoyi side of town. when you look at Lagos, is Aleko, as far as you know professionally, talking about buildings now, is it safe enough?
It's actually, I don't know so much about the area, but I've heard so much about it. But there are professional principles. If an area has become so blighted in terms of gone down infrastructure development in the place, it's a time to close the area and do a redesign, a redevelopment of the area. That's what it should be. Area that is that down ought to be declared uninhabitable for human activities.
Well,
but we don't do this.
Yeah, and you can imagine
reasons,
why.
For obvious reasons.
You can imagine why.
We know.
It's easy to it's easy to say. But even though people will still run around, my thing is that people running around because they know someone or the other. It happens in every society around the world. But when your case is a tragedy waiting to happen, then no amount of running around should suffice.
The lives of others.
That will end up in death. Then Lagos state officials conspire together and keep quiet about this matter. The word conspire might be very strong.
Too hard.
It might be very strong. But if
Neglected
you don't take down a building that is raining sand already,
it all depends.
Good morning. Ego is on the line. Did I hear Ego is on the line? Good morning. No? Okay. So
it all depends on the level of awareness, even by the government officials. I was happy that a lady went up to that school to tell the proprietor that the signs I'm seeing, your building parts are falling.
And the proprietor is not going to go straight to the government.
That is where the error is still.
People
are afraid of, reporting. But in the other climb, even seeing through the window that something is happening to your neighbor or environment that is not right, you pick a phone and call. You don't need to go there yourself. Well, so these are the issues. Again, does that woman know the number of the emergency management board?
Yes.
Does she know the other areas to call? No. The awareness is so down, both on the government side and on the people's side. So at the end of the day, we just wait for the tragedy to happen.
Which is a very, very
unfortunate. And when it happens,
then there will be all sorts of activities. Then we'll be on it for 2-3 days. Ismail, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in, sir.
Good morning to my uncle guest from the studio. Yeah, I'm coming from Lagos Island.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a 3 point to discuss. I pledge on behalf to just give me 2 minutes because I know much about this thing and I want to express my mind. I have this opportunity right now. Number one, the cost of the collapsed building in Lagos Island has been coming up, not this year, for about 10 years ago. We have a professional on the ground, but a corruption cannot allow them to do their work. You have said a little about the corruption. Now, the little that you said, when the agency go round about from the building in Lagos Island, and they marked on 1 or 2 places, or they caught some people working there or in the wrong side, when they get a file, they have a file. So they file all these things down. Some of people go around, went to meet Baba Kinikon, Oloye Kinikon, Chief Kinikon, even the PS, so in the ministry that is a professional. And they will call the so-called the officer in charge. They have a lot of officers they have already, because of this collapse of this thing, they have transferred them, because of refusing of this hierarchy.
Yeah.
You get it? So that is a lot of things. And Lagos Island, there is a lot of developers and all that. So I blame the owner giving the developer of the property. You know why? They have a competition when they want to give out the property to them. They know the good.
Okay. But thank you for calling in. Let me swing to you again, Mr. Tiamu. I just remembered as he was speaking. The owner of the building is that person, has Lagos State engaged with that person? I don't want to use the word arrest in case it's inappropriate, but is he helping Lagos State with investigations?
We're sure we will have all of that happening for now. Let me point this out. The need for the communities to be part of this process is very, very important. Yesterday, the building behind this structure that came down and the one beside that I just talked about left for me. I would have loved to bring them down too. And I called the attention of the Lagos Island East local government chairman to that. I asked him to invite the CDA chairman to come around and let's have a look. You can see gaping holes in those buildings. I can see into their room. In fact, they are in the open because the structure has collapsed part of their building. Let me take away this your boys' quarter to ensure that I don't want to come back here again and pick dead bodies. They protested. Some said their property are still buried in the rubble. They will get the local men to come and do it. And then when it was becoming a heated argument, I had to go back. But I told the head of service who came that look at the challenge we have. And he invited the local government chairman to work with us. The man also did and agreed. But after some time, pressure came on him. And he's the man on the ground.
This is the problem.
The truth we must tell.
We get sentimental.
Exactly. It's not about Lagos State government alone. I represent Lagos State government there.
Yes.
I was willing to bring that building. In fact, I told the HOS that even the next structure near it, let's bring it down. And he agreed. But they were telling me it is all concrete from beginning to the end. And it has been there for 40 years. But nothing will happen.
Government has the ways to test this thing. But the government, it doesn't matter what you say, government has a way to test this thing.
Engineers are there. Will go conduct the tests.
But, you know, the gentleman who spoke, Ismail spoke, and you're also speaking that there are problems in a situation such as we find ourselves in Lagos State here, perhaps other places as well. Aminu in Kaduna. Aminu in Kaduna, we're sorry we lost you. We know you did call in and we were going to get back to you. Mr. Abonta, do you have problems in your line of business as a result of some of the difficulties such as we're talking about now when it comes to properly licensing, tying up all the paperwork, meeting all the conditionalities? Because I imagine that no matter what you want to build, no matter how much money you have, the authorities, it must conform to certain parameters with that, and they should be checking them out. Is that your experience as people go about erecting buildings?
Yes, it is the experience. People are more interested in the benefits that will come when any new project is being presented for assessment and for approval. The issue of corruption is difficult to take it away from any aspect of our lives in Nigeria, in the entire country. Those in the offices and the man who is making a presentation for approval, property owners, they will want to engage the officials in such a way to influence them, to allow what should not be allowed to go on. And of course, because of our attraction to money, once money is dropped, so the experience is that things don't follow due process in Nigeria. From the time you come to get approval, things don't, you are first frustrated so much that you will now become a beggar. You want to pay revenue to government, you want to do the right thing. Sometimes you are frustrated to the point of saying, I now need your help.
Yes.
You are asking an official, you need his help. And that is the same reason or the same purpose for which he was employed. And then when you get to that point, he now dictates the tune.
Okay, well, Mr. Tiamu says, and we have heard that the governor Ambode has said that this matter will be investigated. But it's so frustrating.
Of course, we know a lot of investigations.
Yeah, that's it.
And we know their end results and the outcome.
That's the frustrating part of it all.
The truth is that there should be reorientation.
Okay, one moment,
where
please.
Nigerians
I'll come back to you on this point. I'll come back and you pick up on this point. Good morning, Yakub, and apologies for keeping you waiting.
No problem, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
And then good morning to your guest.
Sure.
Chief Yori,
You see, there is no how you can rule out corruption in this situation you find ourselves. And then the question I want to put to the gentleman in the studio is that if they told us that Lagos State government cannot approve that school, who did? And then if they say that there was nobody can approve that, are they telling us that they don't know that school is existing there? Because I can tell you for the fact there is a lot of schools like that in that Lagos Island and then in Lagos in general that they were not getting approval from the Lagos State government. In fact, if you go there, you will not like the way the children are learning. In fact, they cannot even learn anything because the environment was not conducive for them to even learn it at all.
Yeah.
That is number one. Number two, it's very quickly. Now, it has happened. They will tell us they want to do the investigation. At the end of the investigation, nobody will know anything. Corruption again. That is the issue. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much. And you were talking about, Mr. Bonta, you were talking about reorientation. Yeah, conversations like that aspect comes up in conversations of tragedies like this. Mr. Tiamio has been in our studios many times. Unfortunately, we don't see him when things are cool. When everything is fine, we don't see him. There must be a disaster. That is when we will now see him come and give us a situation report. I mentioned the point earlier. Yakub has brought it back up again. Mr. Tiamio has said that there was no approval for a school in that place. That means they're operating without approval.
Illegally.
Is that not lawlessness? And, well, it's
But
not
to the knowledge of the supervising officials. There was no approval, but nobody could have said he never saw a school operating in that building.
And this is the problem.
And inspectors go around. Education inspectors, building inspectors.
This is the
so
very,
they must have noticed
very
it.
problem. This is
so
very,
what
very
did they do when they noticed it?
Well, we were speaking about corruption, right? Richard in Abuja, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Uncle Jerry. The only point I want to make is if you want to bring down a person's building, there needs to be a compensation plan. These are buildings owned by landlords. You cannot just break down somebody's building without compensating the person. And I'm sure any right-thinking landlord, if you tell him the compensation plan, of course you tell you go ahead. So I'm not sure all these protesters will not come when they know that you break someone's building down and you send him out in the cold. So there needs to be a proper compensation plan.
Okay, Richard, Richard, I take the point that you are making. Therefore, are you saying that in this instance of 63...
Massey, 36.
No, the number.
36.
Is number 36.
Massey.
Massey Street. This number 36, Massey Street, that came down, are you saying that compensation should now be given to the landlord there?
No. Way before anything happens, when you mark a building for demolition,
you should put compensation immediately.
You must discuss. Okay, this building is marked for demolition. What is the next step? You understand? Before you demolish it, there needs to be a compensation plan for the landlord.
All right, then.
Then you can now go, when that's sorted out, then you can now
I got you, Richard. I got you, Richard.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for calling in. Well, you see, because what Richard has just said, the sentiment is not that way out, the way some people view things. Now, I would guess, without being an expert and without having been privy to the results of any investigations, that when a building comes down, one of the reasons it might come down for might be inferior materials, maybe not building things according to specifications. The kind of things that council officials tick off on. Say, yes, approved, you can continue to the next step. Yes, approved to the next step. I'm just guessing that people went and put, maybe exaggerating only slightly now, 40 bags of sand to 1 bag of cement, and then built it up. You know, you understand that I was exaggerating for emphasis. You know, the whole thing reaches up. Then it begins to rain sand after so many years, and nobody saw that as a danger sign. And then Mr. Richard is saying that, look, maybe part of the problem is that you can't leave landlords out in the cold, is why people are not in a rush to bring down buildings once they have been determined to be defective. I think there's maybe this can feed back into what you were going to say about orientation or not.
Yes, sir. The first thing that every landlord should do is to have insurance cover over his property. That is the first step to be taken. Insurance cover over your property.
And if you want insurance property over your cover, the insurance people will come and inspect, right?
They will do inspection.
They will come and inspect.
They will involve professionals like me to assess the building, because the insurance companies are covering risk. So based on the level of risk that building constitutes, they will tell you the volume of premium you will pay.
Or maybe even say that they can't insure it at all if they see sand raining down.
Insurance companies can always insure anything.
Okay.
But the premium must put them in an advantageous position.
Yes.
Such that if the unexpected happens,
yes,
they will have their profit and their overhead costs and still be able to pay you.
And we're talking human lives here.
Now, that is another dimension.
Yes.
I think that the issue of compensation should really be secondary.
It is. It should be.
It should be secondary. The first reaction when a building shows sign of going to collapse is for the state, the agencies of state, to raise the red flag.
Lagos State government
Lagos State government.
Mr. Abonta, don't talk too much.
Lagos
State government knows this.
And they should immediately plan on how to vacate everybody from that building. Then the issue of people coming to assess the building, maybe for possible compensation, or the insurance company we have paid you. These are the things that will happen. But what is the first step? Which is an emergency, of course.
Which is
safety of the lives.
Mr. Aminu in Kaduna, apologies, sir, for keeping you waiting.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
Thank you.
I hope your houses are safer. Are your houses safe in Kaduna?
Yes, we all know that everything in life has a expiring date. Just as we,
wait. What did you say, sir? Life has expiry date.
Yes, our life has expiring date. The same thing with the building we are living in. So even if you build just one bedroom flat and you are living on it, one day it has a expiring date. So, and the authority that went there to do the marking, they didn't take action and they saw it coming. In fact, to me, those people are very wicked. I expect the state government to take them to brought them to book by now.
All right.
The client of the building, they should call him for questioning. Because when he's building, did that building have approval? Did he employ the qualified engineer to look after the building? So, in fact, I'm very sad. I'm not happy.
Thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate your call, Mr. Aminu. Somebody said that the problem with investigations, which the governor said we will go through again, and rightly so, we need this to be investigated so we know what's going on. But somebody said, was it Yakub, that these investigations, you won't hear anything about them again. Let me use the opportunity to ask you about the synagogue scenario. That there was a lot of volume, shall we say, on that.
You see, let me tell our viewers that it is not all the time that the result of investigations are not known. Let me give you an example.
Sure.
The present Lasema Response Unit that you see in Lagos today, that I represent here, is as a result of an investigation. At the early years of Ambode administration, there was a falling container in Ojuelegba, which fell on a car, and people were trapped.
Yes.
And then a lot of people were crying. Lasema as then does not even have equipment to do the work. So the governor was concerned because it was giving his administration a bad name. So he constituted a committee to check what is happening. The result of that investigation was that Lasema, as an agency, cannot even do anything because they don't have equipment of their own.
And that one is an accident, and it became an emergency. The container fell off. I understand that. I understand perfectly.
No, you see, the truth is something will happen, an investigation will come. What did you do with the result? I'm just telling you of this. The Lasema that you see today is a product of an investigation into an accident that occurred. Right. And then today we can all see the success. Government has made of this. There are other ones. It's just, like people say, proactiveness in emergency response. And I answered them. I said, for every 10 accidents you see on Lagos Road, I have prevented 20. They said, how? I said, for every vehicle that breaks down on Lagos Road, and I send my tow truck to go and bring it off the road, I have prevented an accident from occurring because a careless driver will run onto that vehicle and lose his life.
That's right. So there are different aspects to emergency management.
Exactly.
Very, very many different aspects.
Exactly.
But this one is a special case because it was a tragedy waiting to happen. That's the point and it's a tragedy waiting, it was a tragedy waiting to happen. It has happened, but you see, I'm sorry, vicariously, Lagos state government was betting that the worst wouldn't happen. Vicariously. Because, you know, otherwise, I'm so sure Governor Ambode would have said that building must be pulled down in 1 week. If he had information that we're going to be talking about 14 dead in another 1 week or 2 weeks if you don't act now, they would have done. But you see, I think people would just cross their fingers, trust in luck, and say that nothing will happen.
And pray, maybe.
In Warri, Mr. Wilson is waiting to join the conversation. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, thank you so much for the wonderful program you are conducting. Yeah, quite okay. I'm a civil engineer.
Sure.
And I want to say that the whole lot of problems we have in the building industry today is being caused by the government of the day and the government as a whole, so to say. You see, government never helped the situation. Some of us, we interestingly went to study civil engineering or other aspect of engineering with the aim of coming to practice and deliver professionalism the way it ought to be. But if you look at it, government ought to put policies in place. But government has failed to put policies in place. You will see in developed countries, people, all the things are expected to partake in construction industry. They have various roles to play. But today in Nigeria, you see a carpenter is called an engineer. A mason is regarded as an engineer. Now, the government never looked at this as a serious problem, whereby they also ensure that in everywhere you are to carry out building construction work, you ordinarily need to go there and satisfy who are the professionals working there. You see, at the time when you go out to get a job to work, while you are doing this job, a family member or some of the family members of your clients will come and say all sorts of things. That this engineer is wasting your material. This engineer, look at the number of bags he's using. Look at the material he's asking you to buy. Before you know, that man will look at it in a different angle that you are not helping him to save costs. Do you understand?
So in one word, Wilson, we cut corners.
Seriously. We cut corners.
That's what you're saying. And that's our problem. And
yeah, we cut corners. But and the government is not helping matters.
Thank you, sir. But thank you very much for calling in. And that's the whole. I would imagine that just one instance of being able to help this situation is that you shouldn't be able to cut corners readily and easily. You should be worried that they won't approve it and I can't go to the next stage.
Sir, the part of the things he mentioned now is the importance of allowing professionals to do their work.
Yeah, but we have a center of excellence in Lagos here now. Where would you accept professionals to? It's just the name.
That's the name, sir. But the truth is that go to the ongoing site constructions today, you hardly can find an engineer or find any other professional in the building industry that is participating in that project. And those who supervise will come and will not ask questions. Like he said, carpenters, masons, electricians,
Draftsmen,
are project
masquerading
managers.
as architects.
They are
you know.
project managers in Nigeria.
Well, we've run
And
out
so
of time now, unfortunately. That's the way things
it's
go sometimes.
unfortunate. But professionals should be allowed
Indeed.
to
Thank you.
play their role.
Thank you very
in
much.
But
development.
I must place on record before
Yes,
we
sir.
go.
Mr. Atiami.
Lagos being center of excellence is not in the name alone.
Okay.
We can see it in action.
Okay.
Yes.
Eh.
Why are people
But
coming
the
to
way
Lagos?
this was
Some
handled
areas.
was not exactly excellent.
No. We will get better.
We will
I
get
agree.
better.
By God's
We will
grace.
get better. we will
But
agree.
that excellence
But
was
the results
missing in
are
this
there.
one.
That excellence
Because the
is
house
showing.
had been marked, but had not been pulled down, and then the worst happened. Now I understand they're really looking at the stability of all the buildings around there. But
I have an information to
Well,
pass, sir, if you will allow me some minutes.
time has run out. I'm so
Yes,
sorry.
I know, sir. We are
5
talking
seconds.
about
5 seconds.
we are talking about building collapse and then urban administration or management.
Yeah.
That's why my professional body, come next week, we are holding
That's a
an
commercial.
important,
That's a commercial.
an important,
Mr. Bonta, that's a commercial.
an
But thank you very
important
much.
conference
I just want to
that
thank you
deals
for coming. No,
with
don't go
city
far.
administration.
That is a commercial you're trying to slip in.
And I'm
But thank you
trying
very
to
much,
say
Mr.
that
Bonta.
it's
Mr. Bonta,
good
thank you. Thank you.
My director and other government officials.
That's our program
will
today.
come.
I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.